Hey everybody, welcome to a special edition of FabFit Friday on Thursday. I'm going to be teaching a hands-on pants fitting class tomorrow in Rhode Island, so I decided I would come on today and just share with you how to do my cut-on fly for my new pants pattern that I'm releasing on the last Tuesday of this month. I'm calling it the Sorsha Classic Slim Trousers, and I'm really excited about this pattern because I spent a lot of time sort of innovating or creating unique construction for the front pocket and for the front fly. So I love a cut-on zipper for pants, a cut-on fly for pants. But I really like to have a zipper fly shield, so there's fabric between you and your zipper inside your pants. And I came up with a way to construct this zipper with just using the cut-on fly shapes. So let me show you what the finished fly looks like, and then I'm going to show you how to sew it together. And then I'm going to zip off because I have a lot of shipping to do today. So I want to get to the post office. So let me just switch over here to my table shot. And you can see, I think I'm going to let me blow my light out for a second here. Or maybe I'm not going to do that. What's happening with let me just zoom in here. Hi, Judy, welcome. Welcome to FabFit Friday on Thursday. All right, so I also figured out how to work with my new audio situation, so you can see I'm not having any technical difficulties today, which makes me really happy. This is my cut-on fly, and you can see it looks pretty much like any front fly. One of the things I love about it is it has a 3/4 inch underlap. So there's no way your zipper is going to be sticking out no matter how you move around in these pants. On the inside, you can see an extremely clean finish. That's all there is to the inside of the fly technique. See how nice and clean that is? Hi, Mary, welcome. Thank you for coming on Thursday for FabFit Friday. Now, the one caveat that I tried to get around when I was working on this technique is the fly top stitching. Now, I know a lot of you are perfectionist in your top stitching and you like to get a one line of stitching to perfection. So the only thing about this technique is you're going to have to do the fly top stitching in 2 steps, and you can see why right here. The bottom part of the top stitching overlaps onto the zipper shield, so that has to be done after the zipper shield is folded into place. So if we look at it from the right side, we're going to top stitch from the waist down to right before the curve starts here. And then at the very end, we're going to do the rest of the top stitching, and we're going to start from the center front and meet the stop point of the straight part of the top stitching. Now you can finish that in 2 ways. If you want to be meticulous, you're going to be really careful as you come up to where you stopped. You're going to stop, you're going to bring your threads to the wrong side and tie a knot to make it clean and seamless looking. Or you can join your stop point from the straight part and then just sew a bar tack over it. So those are going to be the 2 ways you can finish the top stitching for this. But the steps are nice and clean, really easy to do, and I'm going to show you how nice and fast you can construct a cut-on fly zipper with a cut-on fly closure with a zipper shield. Hi, Aline and Racer Girl. You're going to be checking in a few times. You'll be watching it in full tonight. Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you for stopping in. Um, all right. So I thought I printed out my instructions, but I printed out the wrong pages. I don't think I need the instructions at this point, but I do want to show you that when you get a pattern from me, all of the major steps come with a very clear illustration. So I thought I printed out the pages I needed to do the zipper, but actually part of it is for the pocket and part of it is for the zipper. So that's okay, but at least you can have an example of how nice the instructions are in this pattern. Hi, Janie, welcome. All right, so that's how it looks completed. Let's look at the top of the front leg pattern piece of the Sorsha Classic Slim Trousers. Okay, I just printed out the size 2 for economy of paper here. And what I want to show you is, you can see this big long cut-on fly includes the cut-on fly and also the zipper shield all in one piece. So there's nothing that you're going to need to add on or sew on to do the zipper shield. Now, only the right side of the zipper closure needs the shield portion of the pattern. So in the pattern, I also included a template. So the template fits right on the pattern piece like this, and you're going to use it for two purposes. You're going to use it to sort of block out where you're going to put your interfacing. So on your fabric, you can use this to put your interfacing on, and I'll show you that in a minute. But you're also going to cut off the extra fabric on the left leg. Okay, so this is the left cut-on fly template. There's a typo right there, L-E-T-F. I'll fix that. Left cut-on fly template, align template, matching dots to the left leg, trim off. Okay, so there are dots on the actual pattern. I just printed this out before I got it all on there. But the bottom line is, let me show you how this is going to work. Oh, also, as with any cut-on fly, when we go to put our legs together, we're going to baste from the waist down to the crotch curve, and then we're going to sew permanently the crotch curve. So I've labeled all of that on the actual pattern piece. Now I've already cut out my two front leg pieces. Okay, so if you're looking at your pattern in front of you, or your pieces in front of you, you know that they're opposite. So whatever is on the right is going to be my left. So if I pick this up and put it on my body, you can see it goes on my left side. So this is the left leg that I need to trim off the extra. So let me just move the right one out of the way for a second. Zoom back in. So obviously you can either flip it over or you can turn it over. I'm going to turn it over just so I can show you here. I've already put my interfacing where it needs to be for my zipper insertion. Oh, Kathy says, oh my God, your volume is great. Yes, it's all thanks to this lovely Zoom recorder that my audio is coming from now. That's how I'm getting nice audio. My husband fixed it for me. Hey, Amelia, welcome. I'm just starting to show how to do this front fly technique. So I'm going to put this template right here, and you can see what happens is, this is the part I'm going to trim off, and it also blocks off where I need to put my interfacing. So I interface both my right and left legs first, so you can see there's fusible interfacing there. And basically we're going to interface from the end of the cut-on fly to just before the basted seam when we're going to sew the legs together. And this section is shaded gray on the actual pattern sheet, so you can see where to put your interfacing. So I'm going to just cut, I'm going to cut this off. I'm just going to use my rotary cutter here. So what I'm doing is I'm trimming off the zipper shield off of the left leg. So basically, I'm trimming it off, And then you're going to notice, in addition to trimming off the zipper shield, I'm also trimming off a 1/4 inch along the bottom right here. This 1/4 inch is the seam allowance we're going to use to finish the bottom edge of the zipper shield. So you're going to use this template to cut off this from the left leg. So let's look at those pieces again. So now you can see we have a longer right, oops, let me just make this, hold on one second. Oh dear, hold on, I'm sorry. My lens literally just fell off the camera. I think it needs to, let me just make sure it's tight so it doesn't fall off. Okay, sorry about that. That could have been a huge disaster. I think my lens needs to go back for, Jesus. I just dropped the lens again. Hold on one second, ladies. Okay. Oh my gosh. Woo! Okay, all right, we have it on now. I just dropped the lens. I just literally, let me show you what happened. You see this big lens right here? It fell off my camera. Shh, don't tell my husband. All right. It became a little bit loose, but it's attached right now. I'm so sorry about that. All right, so as I was saying, we have, and I'm just going to move myself, I think, over here for now, just so I'm not in the way. Yeah, I guess over here is the best place. All right, so basically we have the right cut-on fly with zipper shield here, and we have the left just cut-on fly over here. So the next step is I'm going to put these right sides together like this, and what we want to, oh, Kathy, you're so funny. Kathy said, tell him he didn't put it back on correctly. Oh my God. Well, actually, that lens needs to go back for maintenance anyway. It does funny things in the summer. It gets stuck. So it does need to be rehabbed anyway. So maybe this will encourage us to rehab it faster. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to line up the inseams, the crotch curve, and the waist edge. Notice the edges of the two fly pieces are not going to match because we cut this off of the left. So once they're lined up, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in a few pins, and I'm just going to pin along my interfacing here. And you know, if something didn't happen, you know what I mean, weird in my live, then it wouldn't be a J Stern Designs live. So the fact that I almost dropped my lens and smashed it is really par for the course. Oh, hi, Carol. Welcome. Oh, Carol, I just want you to know that I sent you your last order for the yoga pants fabric and the band roll, and I was 6 inches short of yoga pants fabric, so I gave you extra band roll, and I wrote you a very nice note to explain what I did, and then I found that note on my table after I shipped you your order. So I hope everything is okay, and I hope that worked out for you. Please let me know if being 6 inches short was bad, because I can refund you for the fabric if that did not work out. So I kept meaning to catch up with you to tell you that. Keeping you on your toes. Yes, honestly, if I had like a normal week where nothing funny happened, I don't know what I would do with myself. Life is always interesting with me. All right, so you can see I've pinned these together so that this inseam, crotch seam, and waist is lined up. The next thing I'm going to do, and I would do this in chalk if I were working with, you know, my real fashion fabric here, but this is just going to be a sample. So what I'm going to do is I am going to measure a 1/2 inch away from the crotch seam and put a dot right here. And then I'm going to draw up so I know where I'm basting. and I know it's just going to go parallel to this. So I'm just going to draw, that's going to be my basting line. And then from here on, I'm going to just permanently sew the crotch. Okay, so baste, sew. Oh, Carol says, what does Carol say? Carol says, all wet the fabric, Jen. Oh, good. Thank you so much. I almost sent you that note on top of it, and then I forgot, so I apologize for that. All right, so we've got baste, sew. That's the first step in constructing the cut-on fly, and that would be pretty standard for every, for a cut-on fly. And I'll explain when I start to get to a section that's a little bit different. Trying to decide if I have enough thread in there. We'll play a little thread chicken and see what happens here. Bobbin thread chicken. Okay, so I'm going to get in here so you can see. So I'm going to set my stitch length to 5, which is my longest stitch length, and I'm going to baste to the top together. And then when I get down to here, I'm just going to back tack a couple stitches, and then I'm going to make my stitch length 3. That's my standard garment sewing seam, and I'm going to just stitch my 1/2 inch seam allowance here. Okay. All right, so now I've got that all set. Okay, so let's see. Amelia says, so you're marking on the sewing line. Yes, so what you want to do is, this pattern, this new pants pattern is going to have a 1/2 inch seam allowance everywhere, including the crotch. And having a little bit of a wider seam allowance here is going to make the underlap wider. So you'll have a nice, a nice margin to conceal your zipper on your pants. So I'm marking the exact center front stitching line. It's going to be permanent from the crotch up to the base of the zipper, and then I basted in the rest because we're going to take that stitching out after we put the zipper on. So baste, sew. All right, so I'm going to unpin now. And the next step is we are going to open this up. Now, this is the wrong side of the fabric. You can tell it's the wrong side of the fabric because you can see the interfacing here. We want to work on we want to sew the zipper to the right fly piece first. So I'm going to open this up. Okay, and you can see here, I'm not going to clip my crotch seam because I'm going to fold both of these seam allowances in the same direction later. I'm not going to press this open at any time. So there's no need to clip your seam allowance here. And I'm going to be using just a plain nylon zipper, a nylon pant zipper for this. And so the zipper is going to go against the right fly piece like this. And I'm going to butt up the twill tape right on where the seam is, where the center front edge is. And notice my pull is up here out of the way, so I'm working with a zipper that's longer than I need. And I want to make sure the bottom of the zipper will be hidden by the shorter left cut-on fly because we don't want it poking out. So basically, this is how I'm going to position my zipper, butted right up against the seam. And I'm going to put some pins along the twill tape closest to the seam. We're going to be sewing this side, or the outer edge of the zipper, to the right fly piece. Oh, Pat says volume is best ever. I will have to watch this frame by frame. Thank goodness the replay lets me change the speed. Oh, good. And I'm so happy you guys can hear me now. That makes my heart happy. Okay, so I'm just going to stick a couple pins here, literally butting up the twill tape to the seam. And I mentioned that this is going to be on my new Sorsha classic slim leg trouser, but you can adapt any pattern by creating these simple rectangle shapes if you want to do this on a different pants pattern. So basically I've got that butted up and we're going to sew now. And this is one of my favorite things about doing a cut on fly. You do not need to worry about exactly where or how close you're sewing to the zipper. So my zipper is face down. I'm going to just stitch about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of the twill tape. Okay, so I'm just going to stitch it on. Notice I don't have to move any of my pins. I can just stitch. Okay. Okay, so now that we did that, I'm going to remove the pins. And I'm going to fold this like this. Now, on many different pants cut on fly techniques that I've seen, the next step would be to top stitch this edge. We are not going to top stitch this folded edge till the end because it's going to hold the zipper shield in a nice way. And I'll show you that when we get to it. Oh, Pat likes the name Sorsha. So if you missed the little story, my daughter Anna and I were trying to figure out a name for my new pants pattern, and I wanted to give it a name. So we got out the top names, baby names for 2022 or 2023, and we started looking through names, and I kept Googling it to see if there were already pants patterns with that name, and a lot of the names we liked already had patterns associated with them. So Sorsha is a name that didn't have a women's adult non-stretch pants pattern, so we decided to go with that. We had such a fun time picking out the name. All right, so I'm going to take my iron, and instead of sewing this down like you would on some other cut on fly techniques that I've seen, I'm just going to give it a nice press because I just want a nice crisp, folded edge there. Now be careful, don't traumatize your nylon teeth. I turned my iron down a little bit so it wouldn't be like bleeming hot. All right, so that's the next step. So now what we're going to do is we are going to take this whole thing and flip it over like this. And this time we're going to let the, we want the left cut on fly to be extending out from the pant like that. Here's the rest of my right. Okay, and we want to sew the zipper to the left. Now here's the thing about this. The reason why I pressed that crease in there in this seam right here is because you want it to just lay the way it's going to lay, and that's going to give you the position of the zipper. You don't have to match anything up or try to get it to do anything. You just lay it flat, and that's where the zipper is going to get sewn to this left piece. So again, I'm just going to put in a couple pins like this. I'm going to go back to the sewing machine. And you may notice I am not using my zipper foot. I'm using my straight stitch foot because you really don't need to worry about getting ultra close, to the zipper teeth themselves. It doesn't matter where you sew the zipper on because it's in the right position. Okay, so I am just going to stitch this now. Now, of course, in the real deal pants, I would clean finish these edges too, so they wouldn't be raw. But this is just a sample to show you how to do it. I love these magic pins, by the way. Love them. All right, so now my zipper is attached to both fly extensions. So you can see here, if I open it up and let you, oh, hi Ray, I'm sorry. You got here late. I know. It's a weird time and it's the wrong day of the week too. I'm so sorry. We are on the next step. I'm just showing how to do the the cut on fly technique. So you can see now everything is laying nice and flat. I've got my left fly, I've got my right fly. The next step is to turn it around like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the guideline for my fly top stitching. Now the first thing you always want to do is you want to feel for and locate the metal, where the metal bottom stop is. And if I were working with real pants, I would take chalk and I would just mark that with a big dot like that. That's where the metal stop is. You know we don't want to sew over that, so I've marked that. I am going to draw myself a line that is let's do 1.5 inches from the basted seam. So I'm just gonna draw myself a line like that. And then I'm going to peek in there. I want to make sure I'm catching the whole left fly. So I'm going to not get near I want to be on the zipper, but I don't want to be near that metal stop. So I'm going to go like this, right around it. Maybe I'll come down a little lower. I'll go right here. Okay, so that's going to be my fly shape. Oh, Ray has only so many minutes in the day and so many fun things to do. I love that. And I'm also going to take a minute here and I'm going to lay everything nice and flat, and I'm just going to press my seam because I want to make sure there's no extra play in here. So I'm literally just going to press this way. So I'm pressing towards the left like this. And it's going to spread out and flatten my basted seam. Okay, so see how that looks? Pressed like this. And then what I'm going to do is I don't want to risk my other fly pieces flopping around and getting caught in the stitching. So I'm just going to put a pin here and here, and that's going to keep my right fly out of the way. And I'm also going to put a pin here so I know I'm catching my my left fly is right there. So I just want to make sure everything stays nice and nice. Okay. Now I can pick it up and not worry about, we don't want any of this to flop around, so that's why I pinned it. All right. So then the next step is we are going to do our top stitching. Now when I do pants, typically I do not use top stitching thread for pants. I usually just use the thread I'm stitching with or constructing with, but you can decide that for yourself, like if you want to change just top stitching thread. And I'm just going to change my stitch length to, we'll do 3.5. I'm just going to stitch down my line. I have the pins going the wrong direction, of course. Get that out of the way. And I'm going to stitch right down to where I start to curve, and then I'm just going to stop. Now, here's the thing about this. This is the one sticking point that some of you may not be in love with. I'm going to pull it out so I have tails that I can tease to the wrong side and tie them into a knot. So I just stopped right there. And I used the inside edge of my straight stitch foot as a guide, so my actual top stitching is a little bit farther away. I just wanted to make sure I did not hit that metal stop that's right there. All right, so now the next step is I'm going to take these pins out because now my left fly piece is anchored in position. Where is my stitching? Where's my stitching? Oh, it's on the zipper. All right, so it's stitching, it's actually catching the zipper, which is fine. So anywhere along my top stitching is fine. So it's actually right on my zipper. All right, so the next thing is we want to, oh, I made a boo-boo. I'm going to have to remember this. See, this is why I was practicing with interfacing now. Look what happened. The interfacing on the right fly needs to actually be over here, because where I put it, it's going to show. So, coming back over here, the interfacing goes here on the left, and on the right, it's going to go over here, but on the right side. So see, this is why I'm spending all this time practicing with this. The first few times I did this technique, I did it without the interfacing. So in my head, I thought, oh, they both go on the wrong side, but that is in fact not true, because now you can see the interfacing here. So the pattern will clearly say, the interfacing needs to go, let me just draw a line. This is the zipper shield, and that's what gets the interfacing. Oops. So that is a boo-boo. And you know, on J Stern Designs Lives, it's very common for boo-boos to happen. So there it is. This interfacing should be over here, because we want to give that some firmness. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to turn it like this, and I'm going to fold it to the stitching line like this. Okay, so this is the opposite way it's going to be finished the other way. So do you guys know how to do the bottom of a button placket before you do the hem, where you turn it to the front, stitch the bottom, and then turn it back? That's exactly what we're doing here. Let me just stop and say hello to PRDSJ family. Welcome from Australia. Thank you for joining me. This is a unique FabFit Friday. Normally it's Friday at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I'm doing it today because I'm teaching pants all day tomorrow and I didn't want to skip it. Okay, so I'm folding the zipper shield into the stitching that you can see. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my sewing machine, and I'm literally just going to sew that bottom 1/4 inch. And this is what's going to actually make it even with the other side. Oops. And of course now I'm really going to start to fall apart. My zipper came unthreaded. And then, you know, I'm also playing bobbin thread chicken. So we'll see if I can finish this without running out of bobbin thread. But the way it's going, I'm guessing I have the cards stacked against me today. We'll see. All right, so let's stitch this little seam allowance. 1/4 inch. Oh my god, it came unthreaded again? Like, seriously. I think I get in these bad juju moments where something goes wrong and then everything goes wrong. Honestly. First my lens falls off, and I have my interfacing on the wrong place, and now my needle won't stay threaded. Ugh. Alright. So I'm just stitching that. Then what I'm going to do here is I am going to turn this the other way, and what it's going to do is it's going to give me a nice clean finish. And I'm just going to use my scissors to poke the sharp corner here, see? Okay, and then I'm going to give this a nice press. So let me just lay it flat like this, and then I'm going to fold this so that the edge is right up next to the zipper. I'm just going to press this like this so it's nice and crisp. Then I'm going to fold it over into position. Now, if I had put my interfacing on the right side, there would be no interfacing here. And I don't know if you know, but If you reheat interfacing, you can pull it off. So this will be a bonus tutorial how to remove interfacing if you screw up, because this is bugging me to look at it. So if you heat it up, you can peel it back off like it was never there. And of course I sewed through it, so I can't get rid of it completely, but I do want to try to make it look a little bit better here. So I'm just gonna peel this right off, and then look, it's all better. So just gonna press this nice and flat again. And what happens is you don't want to push this so it's folding the end of the zipper, because that will add bulk. So when you press it flat, just press it so that the zipper is laying flat and you get this little fold. That's why we're going to press it really, really carefully. Just going to hold it here for a second. Get a nice sharp crease. And then this is where we're going to sew the other, we're going to sew alongside the zipper from the right side. And I think what I want to do here is to make sure this stays nice and flat. I am going to just put some, well, I can't pin it yet. All right, so from the right side, I've got this nice and folded. Okay, so see, that looks really, really nice. Oh, Sewing Fairy, both friend and trickster, honestly. All right, so I'm gonna now turn this to the right side, and what I need to do is I need to remove my basting stitch. So I'm gonna use my seam ripper, and I'm gonna stick the ball side of my seam ripper into the seam. Well, first I'm gonna pick at it for a second so I can see the start. And then I'm just going to do this. So I'm just sliding it along with the ball inside. And that will get rid of my basting really quickly. I'm just going to get rid of all of these little threads. All right, and see that really nice overlap? This is, the zipper is not going to show anything. So now from this side, what I'm going to do is I'm going to feel that little micro pleat that I made so that the zipper lays flat right here. And I'm going to pin it down from this side. So I'm going to feel that I'm pinning through all those layers like that. Okay, I'm just going to put a few pins in, like 3. I just want to make sure I'm holding it down. Well, maybe even just 2. Let me look. So you can see if the pins are catching the little fold, that means your needle will too. Let me see if I can just get one more in there, really near the end. I'll use a shorter pin, one of my little shorties here. And I'm literally just going to pin right like this. Okay, so now let's look and make sure it's laying flat from the front. And if I turn it around, you can see it's laying flat in the back. And you can see that I've caught the little ledge right there the whole way down. So now I'm going to bring my sewing machine back. And I'm literally just going to stitch really close to the fold here, and that's going to hold all of that down along the fly shield in the back. I'm just going to stitch really close to the fold. Okay, and I'm just going to get down there as low as I can. I'll just back tack at the bottom. All right, so now you can see from the right side, the fly looks lovely. And from the wrong side, again, the fly looks lovely. Now you've got this little bit of stuff at the bottom here. So, you know, making my Real Deal pants, I would finish the edge of this on my serger, maybe trim off a tiny bit so it doesn't stick out past the folded edge. I mean, it's pretty close. I mean, it's still about 1/8 of an inch behind it there. But basically, I can also, if I wanted to, I could pick this up, these little short edges, and I could sew those nice and flat as well if I wanted to. Like I can start from the inside like this and just stitch those down. And that will hold the base of the fly together. So see, if you wanted to just stitch along the bottom there, you could. And then that's nice and lovely. And then the last step is we want to connect where we stopped top stitching. We want to finish our top stitching. So I'm going to put it back in so that I can start right at the center front edge. Okay, you always want to stitch, even if you're going to stitch your zipper fly, your fly top stitching in one seam, you always want to start at the center front at the base of the zipper fly and then go up, so you're not pushing the fabric toward center front. Because if you start at the top here and go down and around to the center front, sometimes you push the fabric against the seam and you get a little bubble there. You know, especially if your fabric has a little bit of stretch. So I always like to start going in this direction. So I'm going to take a couple stitches and then I'm going to back tack a couple stitches. And then I'm just going to stitch, stitch, stitch really slowly. See how slow I'm going? You never will see this on more than a few different things that I might possibly do. I'm usually a very fast sewer. So I can see, here is my where I stopped. I'm going to hand walk it until it lines right up with where I stopped. I'm going to not use my thread cutter. I'm going to pull it out. Now let's look at this up close here. See if I can zoom in a little bit more. Let me see if I can. Oh, now I can fix my lighting. I couldn't before because my camera lens wasn't really attached right. That's why it fell off. So, okay, so you can see here now, I can take from the inside, I can tease the threads for this one both to the wrong side. So see how I've got both of my threads right here? So I can tie a knot now and secure that. So you can see now, oh, the other one is, oh, I should have, all right, so if you want to tie your knots, you have to tie the bottom of the straight one first, because that's hanging out right here because I didn't pull that to the back, and I can't pull it to the back anymore because now this is on top of it. So if you want to do the method where you pull the threads to the wrong side and tie knots, you have to do it right after you stop stitching the straight part, pull them to the back and tie them, and then pull the curved one back and tie it. But you can see, if I had done that, you cannot really tell that I stopped and started. It looks like one continuous seam. So you could do that, or you can just go in and do a bar tack. So the other thing you can do is you can just stitch, and I have my straight stitch foot on, so I'm not gonna sew like a, oh, and of course I came unthreaded again. Let me just show you like where you would sew the bar tack. You would just sew it through, oops, you know, across where you joined if it doesn't match up perfectly. And again, I'm just going to straight stitch over it to secure it for this sample, but I would use a slight zigzag bar tack if you want to do a bar tack. But essentially, you're just going to line that up and then just stitch right over that area. You know, again, and I'm just going to do 3, then I'm just going to go back 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm going to call that a day. So even using a straight stitch, you can see it just makes a little bit of a bold, you know, triple stitch right there. No one's really going to see that. So, so that's the one downside of my method, is that you end up with having to do your fly in two, you know, down and then, you know, and then doing the bottom. But look at how nice and neat the back of this cut on fly is. Okay, so there you are. So that is the completed back. Okay, and if you don't want to sew all the way across the bottom, you can also just tack diagonally in the corner to catch both layers as well. So there's a number of different ways you can tack that. But see, this makes it all nice and neat. And then you can see here my seam allowances are both going in this direction. So when I go to do my, like if I wanted to top stitch, and since I didn't run out of bobbin thread yet, I'll show you. So like I also would top stitch both of those seam allowances so they're going, you know, they're securely down really close to the edge here. So basically I'm stitching through both of my seam allowances like this, and I would just stitch right up to the top, and when I get to the base of the fly, I'm just going to back up a couple stitches and call it a day. As you can see, I think this makes a really attractive zipper. And you can see how fast it went together. Nice and quick and easy. Never going to show. Nice underlap. So this is the cut on fly with a zipper shield for my new Sorsha classic slim trousers. And I will make sure in the instructions for the pattern that I explain very clearly where the interfacing has to go, so at the end of the process you don't see it anywhere. All right, so I'm super excited about this. I'm super excited about this pattern. I am super excited that I'm teaching with it tomorrow. Yeah, so that's my fly technique. I'm like super excited. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you want to give it a try. And also I want to thank you all for joining me on Thursday instead of Friday, because I really wanted to get this done this week. So thank you guys so much for joining me. If you have any questions about this, or, you know, let me know. I will answer. But one last look, front. Let's unzip it. Unzipped. There's the fly shield. Look how lovely that is. So nice. And then the back, nice and neat as well, and nice and flat. So that would be my new zipper technique. So thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, can you use a shorter zipper if you want to? You can absolutely, if you want to use a zipper that's the correct length, you'll probably pretty easily be able to do it, because remember, the pool is not going to be super close to your stitching. So you'll definitely be able to have your zipper be the exact length if you want to make it whatever the length is. Absolutely. Oh, Carol says she's going to give it a try. Ray says, really helpful, thanks. Oh, Carol saying hi to Ray, and Ray saying hi to Carol, saying hi to Ray, and Ray saying hi to Carol. Yay. Oh, Judy says this is great, and yay, I'm super excited. All right, so now I am going to buzz off. If any of you ordered a waistband kit in the past couple of days, they're going into the mail today. That's what I'm going to be doing the minute I get off here. Mary is asking, or shorten the zipper area. Oh yeah, you can. All right, so you know, that's a good question. All right, this is a The Sorsha Classic Slim Trousers go all the way to the waist. This is a long fly, but this hasn't been fitted onto anybody. So you don't do the zipper until you fix your rise. So if you need to shorten your rise, that'll all be done before you do the zipper. This is just straight out of the envelope, the high-waisted, you know, at the waist trouser style fly, but you can certainly adjust the rise to whatever's comfortable for you. And that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. So stay tuned. I'll be posting pictures on my Instagram and in my J Stern Designs Fit Sew and embroider group for a little sneak peek inside my fitting class tomorrow. Oh, you saw my fur baby? Come here, Becky, come here. This is my old mama baby. Come here, come up here. Come here, come on. This is Maggie. She's my sweetie pie. She's going to be 11 this year. I'm sorry. She's going to be, 11. She was born in 2012. So this is my Maggie. Let me see. Does the top of the zipper go into the band? All right. So traditionally, that's a good question. Let me back up here for a second. All right, Maggie. Okay. All right. I love you. I love you. See, they want me to feed them dinner. They like to eat anytime after 3. So as soon as I get off, the first thing I'm going to do is feed them. But let me just show this one more time. All right. So traditionally, yes, I know. I love you. Traditionally, if you're using a zipper, oh, I will give her a hug for you, Mary. I'll hug Sophie for you too when I go downstairs. Traditionally, if you're going to use a zipper that's the correct size, the pool, or see these top stops right here? The top stop should be a 1/2 inch away from the raw, the top stop should be a 1/2 inch from the edge of your fabric. So what goes into the seam when you put the waistband on is this part of the zipper that does not have teeth. Okay, so that's what you would do if you're making a zipper to fit the exact length. Put the top stops a 1/2 inch below the waist, the raw edge. So when you sew the waistband on, the top stops are right near the seam to put the waistband on. You can do that. And then if your zipper's too long, you can cut it from the bottom to shorten it, especially if you're using a nylon zipper. So no, this would be like, so for this, if this were really pants, what I would do with this is I would literally cut off, I would cut it like this, and then I would cut the teeth off for that, not the whole 1/2 inch, because I don't want the teeth to not be on at all, but I would just cut the teeth off like this, so they're not in the seam allowance of the, see, I would do this. So see how so my new top will be, the tops of the zipper will get caught in the seam, but I won't have all that bulk in there. So that's how, but make sure you don't cut the zipper so short that you don't catch it in the stitching though, because then you wouldn't have, your zipper pull will fall off when you zip it to the top. So you want to leave a couple teeth in the waistband. And of course you can only do this with a nylon zipper. If you're using a metal zipper, really get those metal stops a 1/2 inch from the top. All right, so Amelia says, so you line up the zip so the excess at the top, the excess is at the top and not the bottom. Well, no, you can line up your zipper so this part, see this part here, this is the top stop right here. This top stop can be a 1/2 inch from the top of your pants, and then you can cut the breast off from the bottom, but don't cut it off until you have it completely sewn in, because I have unzipped my zipper from the bottom doing that. So you can line it up so that the twill tape extends up to the waist and the top stops are a 1/2 inch away. Cut the extra off the bottom. That's really how I would do it. I was just using the zipper longer than I needed to trim off the top, just for the simplicity of showing you how to do this. So I hope that makes sense. Oh, Kathy wants to know what my Instagram is. It's J Stern Designs. So if you go on Instagram and you search at J Stern Designs, you will find me there. And let me see. Maggie is helping me help keep my sewing interesting. Yes, Maggie and Sophie are my two little sewing love bugs. Sometimes they sleep under my table. I have like a quilt under there that they'll sleep on sometimes. They keep me company. All right, so okay, so that does make sense. Excellent. All right, so, oh, no, cap, that's okay. Caps can be on. So the other purpose of the top stop is to keep your zipper from unzipping, by the way. So top stops lock the pull up at the top. And just to point out the difference here, some pants and jean zippers have a locking tab. So see how this tab has this extra little clip right here? That little metal clip? That would keep, if I have this down and I try to pull it, I can't unzip it. See, I'm trying to pull it with all my might because it's got a lock on it. It has to be up to unzip. But if I put it down and try to pull it, it won't unzip because it's got a lock on the tab. So jean zippers and some pant zippers do have a locking tab. If you have a locking tab, you can definitely trim it from the top. But of course, you're going to use your bad scissors and carefully cut between the teeth to shorten it there. So that's my little story with the top stop locks the tab if there's no locking tab. And some tabs have a lock. Jean zippers and pant zippers that have a locking tab. But if you go to buy them like from Wawa, they'll tell you whether there's a locking tab or not. So you can get them in both directions or both ways. All right, so this was super fun. I am so happy I had a chance to get on with you this week to show you this. Next Friday, I am doing a Zoom follow-up for the pants fitting class I'm teaching tomorrow. So I may, in fact, move FabFit Friday to 2:30 on Thursday next week as well, but I will keep you posted on that. Let me just check my calendar, actually. It's just, I don't want to skip FabFit Friday because I really enjoy being here with you guys. Let me just look at my calendar. Yes, I am doing Top Down Center Out next week from noon to 4. So I will be doing FabFit Friday at Thursday at 2:30. How did I find out about magic pins? I was in a class, a hands-on class, and someone had them and she told me about them. I mean, basically, I think they're, I'm really not sure what makes them magic, other than the fact that this longer ball makes them easier to grasp, and they have a nice, strong, thin needle to them. You can get them in 2 different sizes. You know, I think it's the end here that's easy to pull your pins in and out. I got them at Wawa, and I do like them, you know, and I use those interchangeably with my flower head pins. Like, these are my longer pins I use when I want a longer pin. And then I have my glass head pins in my pin cushion somewhere on this table. For all of my standard pinning needs, I use like a standard glass head pin. But I do think these are fun, you know, and of course, you know, I think I showed this to you guys. This is my mom's original tomato pin cushion that she had back when she was a home economics teacher when I was a little kid. So it's in such great condition. I use it to keep all my little specialty pins and some of my needles in. So, but you can get them at Wawa, these magic pins. Yeah, I like them. All right. So that's going to be my complete report. I want to hurry up and get going on my shipping so I can get stuff out today. So have a wonderful rest of your day. I will be posting a Fit Tip Tuesday next week. And then, let me just see. Let me look back here. Yep, so next week is the week before I release my new pants pattern. So Fit Tip Tuesday next week will be some sort of pants fitting adjustment, probably. And then the 30th, I will be releasing my Sorsha Classic Slim Trousers. Super, super excited. So anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me. And Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you again soon. Thank you so much.